We're never doing that again.
Don't sleep. Don't sleep, baby. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What is up, guys, and welcome to episode 70. That's 70 of the Good Point Bro podcast. My name is Kay, and this is my little bro Cam.
Don't sleep.
Don't sleep, baby. As you guys know, the NFL season has started, and so have we. So we're going to get right into it today. Rough day to be a Bama fan. Drop that one to Texas. We'll just get that out the way.
I'm just going to speak to all my Alabama fans real quick. This is the best thing that could have happened to Alabama, and I'll tell you why. They need to hit rock bottom. They need to realize they are not the top dogs. They need to switch their mindset from playing with such fear that they have to perform with such high expectation every week and then be the hunter. Don't be the hunted, be the hunter and go after these guys. And I feel like I really want a redemption story with Milroe. I know every Alabama fan saying kick Milroe to the curb and let other guys play, but I think Milroe is going to figure it out. I think he's a super good team leader, and I just think that he needed a little bit of trial and error.
Yeah, and we talked about.
I'm not giving up hope. And think about this: the 2015 Alabama team, they were 2 years removed from winning a title. They had Jay Coker and Cooper Bateman fighting for the number one quarterback position. They both were trash. They got beat at home by a decent Ole Miss team at the beginning of the year, dropped down to like number 15 in the polls, and then went undefeated for the rest of the year. Everybody was writing them off. Everybody was saying the dynasty's over, and I feel like Alabama still has a chance.
Eerily similar.
Yeah, eerily similar.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just
And they had new coordinators, right? Wasn't Lane new? Was that Lane's first? No, Lane's first year was 2016, or was it that year? I think
Kiffin was there on 2015.
Yeah, that was a new coordinator. And we have new coordinators now.
Yeah,
that was
lately it feels like also that's another thing.
That was Kirby's
lately it feels like
last year.
Our turnover is quick right now.
Yeah, because we're just providing these retards jobs.
Yeah, we're giving everybody.
And then they come and beat Alabama.
Power 5 conferences.
And they come and beat Alabama.
Yeah, 3 of them now. 1 of them at home.
It was so sad because Saban had like a 23-0 record.
Yeah, that's
that's unbelievable that he had a
23-0
record against former assistants.
What is the word I'm looking for? Basically, where it's not going to keep going.
And 52-1 at home.
It's not going to
in the last 53
forever.
games.
That's a crazy stat.
52-1-0 or 52-1 at home. And the last time they lost was 2019 LSU, which is arguably the best team of all time.
And to put it in perspective,
which is unbelievable.
To put it in perspective, while he was undefeated against assistant coaches, all four of the top 4 were his assistant coaches, including him.
Yeah, Jimbo,
Kirby Smart, and the guy at Oregon was his assistant. And they were number 4.
Really?
Yeah. So during
insane.
that season, imagine that you're undefeated, and then the 3 other teams that are in the top 4 are all your assistant coaches.
So just remember, if you're a Georgia fan, you can thank your titles to Nick Saban because he's.
What you can do is we have this saying down in Alabama, and it's called "Bill by Bama," and you guys may as well go ahead and use that for Georgia too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Let's go, baby. 2 in the Dolphins. Overcome Justin Herbert. The defense, don't worry about the defense. Jalen Ramsey's not back yet. Don't worry about the defense. Here's the thing about Tua and the Dolphins. If you go in and you want to play Tua, you better drop 35. You better drop 35 because he's going to drop 35. Tyreek Hill is the most unstoppable wide receiver, and that's saying a lot with Justin Jefferson in the league, okay? Saying a lot.
Unstoppable
I like the Dolphins.
Is a different thing, though.
Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver.
Tyreek Hill is the most explosive player.
You cannot game plan for Tyreek Hill right now.
He's the most explosive
player.
player.
And if you do, Jalen Waddle's on the other side, bro.
Yeah.
And Tua, I mean, he doesn't quite have the arm strength, but one, I love how I'm seeing him. He's not afraid to throw picks. He's just he's slinging. And he's not afraid to throw it up the middle. He hasn't been afraid. The only people that have really stopped him in that facet is when the 49ers put 2 guys in the middle of the field and said throw it to either end or sidelines, and they got Tua with that one. So we'll just have to not down the seam.
That was
outside the hashes. That's what it's called.
Well, I liked how Tua looked really athletic too. Like that one throw where he dodged the guy, ran up and like threw it off his back foot
for a touchdown.
To Tyreek. No, it wasn't for a touchdown, but it was like 40 yards down the field.
He had a scramble for a touchdown too.
Yeah, the arm strength, he's still gonna have to improve on that because, like you said, they're gonna put 2 defenders in the middle of the field. They're going to take away that mid throw that he's the best at, that 35, 40-yard throw that he's just money from. They're going to take that away, and they're going to say, beat me with your arm.
Here's the thing about that, though. Think about this.
So we'll see if he can do that.
You game plan. Tua loves throwing 20-yard balls right up the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Game plan for that. And we're going to spread our offense out. And we're going to have Tyreek Hill on one side and Jalen Waddle on the other. And we're going to throw a couple screens. And you're going to have stacked the box. And we'll just see what happens when Tyreek Hill is one-on-one with the safety. We'll just see what happens.
The Dolphins looked great, but let's not act like the Chargers defense is anything special. Like the Chargers defense is
their secondary is okay. Their run defense sucks.
Pretty bad.
Their run
but that
sucks.
opens up when you can't defend against
they didn't run the ball,
my,
so it didn't matter.
I mean, I think we're overreacting a little bit. Everybody looked super bad week 1. Like everybody looked super rusty besides the Dolphins. So I'm sure everybody will catch up soon, or like at least the elite teams. Yeah. Like Kansas City.
I think the Packers.
Kansas City looked rough with their receivers.
Kansas City, I think, although they had drops,
Buffalo looked
rough. The main
rough.
thing was that Travis Kelce's down, and he's such a pivotal part of their offense right now.
The Ravens didn't look that good, or at least Lamar Jackson didn't look that good.
I'll believe the Ravens when I see it, bro.
The Ravens didn't look that good. We'll get
Josh
to the Bengals.
Allen
They looked terrible.
Josh Allen.
I know, and I drafted him in my fantasy team, and what did he give me, like 10 points?
6, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
Holy crap.
He had 4 turnovers.
Why is he he's like taking the extremes of his worst and making them worse.
Drop my football. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm a very fidgety guy. I like fidget with stuff. Like my phone case is broken because I just like mess with it all the time. I don't know why I do that. Maybe you guys are like that too. But yeah, man. I mean, here's the thing. I said Tua was my dark horse for MVP. You
Is
can't
that really
tell
a dark
me.
horse?
It was, yes.
Oh, you're talking about last year or this year?
Both. I said it both.
I don't know about this year.
This year, I think he probably wasn't.
QBR?
He was third, and I think that he probably wasn't even top 8 in MVP favorites. Probably wasn't even top 10 in MVP favorites. So yeah, it's definitely a dark horse. But regardless, I'll put it like this: I said Tua would be a dark horse for MVP this year, and it got hate. You cannot tell me that you watched that Week 1 game and thought, oh, I don't think he can still win MVP. He had almost 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Threw the ball well. Had a high percentage.
Clutch.
He has a high IQ. When his mind works, and it's not concussed, the dude is an MVP runner at the very least.
He had a game-winning drive too against Justin Herbert, who we were all saying maybe should be drafted over Tua. That's the key.
That's what I was gonna say
for that game. Last year, if you remember, he had a horrible game against the Chargers. Justin Herbert. Yes, the Chargers.
No,
it was a bad game.
It wasn't that bad.
No, stop. It was a. Let's go look up this. Go look up the stats. Go look up the stats.
He had decent stats
and he got destroyed.
No,
he had like the worst first half ever.
They got it. They scrounged it out in the half.
Go look at the stats, man. That game was awful, and then everybody was saying how much better Justin Herbert was. So it was the fact that he did it against Justin Herbert in dominant fashion, had a game-winning drive, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is the key against Justin Herbert.
They lost by a touchdown, but he was 10 for 28 with 145 yards.
Thank you.
But they might have
30 freaking percent completion percentage, basically. That's awful.
Oops.
So to come back next year against Justin Herbert, first game of the year, first game jitters, to do that while everybody's looking sorry, yeah, that was a statement game for sure.
But that's the biggest thing is because it's not just that they were in the same draft class or the same age or anything like that. No matter what happens, it'll always be
they were tied together.
They could have drafted Herbert. Yeah. It'll always be that. Now, honestly, Herbert to me doesn't quite have the same hype that he did his rookie season. He had a great rookie season, don't get me wrong, but he lets athletes on the field work. He throws short passes. He doesn't throw it 20-plus yards too much. He's going to have to start expanding the field and throwing some deep balls for him to start getting up there. No, I mean, Tua started out the same way.
No, I'm saying like Tua, like you were saying, he will not be afraid to throw a pick.
That's
the reason why Justin Herbert was so liked is he had that great rookie year, and he's huge, and he has a massive arm strength. That's why people are so high on Justin Herbert, because for some reason in the NFL, if you're massive and you have a huge arm, then you're automatically loved, no matter what you produce on the field.
Right.
Like, we should have some questions about Josh Allen. And I saw somebody on ESPN say today that if Josh Allen doesn't fix his play, Diggs should want out of Buffalo.
He almost did, it seemed like, this offseason.
Maybe Josh Allen looks sorry. Could that be a possibility? Like, he looked terrible in training camp, and he was like, dude, I can't do this anymore.
No. He didn't go to training camp.
Oh, I forgot.
He never reported. But I would say Look, the center for the Bills said this, and we can go ahead and get into the Bills. I don't even think I put them down as a topic. If you guys look at the bar below, you can see all of our topics: appetizer, main course, and dessert. We're still in the appetizer phase right now, so if you guys see something in main course or dessert, make sure you stick around for that. I don't think I put the Bills on here, so we can go ahead and get into it. But the center for the Bills said this: we have to make Josh Allen feel like he doesn't have to be Superman every play. And sure, they can try to make him feel like that, and they can do things to make him feel like that. But regardless, it's up to him. It's up to Josh Allen to be like, sometimes the check down's there, take it. Sometimes the throw's not there, just throw the ball away. Don't force anything. Sometimes you can step out of bounds or take a slide, and instead he's lowering his shoulder and trying to run over 4 different defenders. So, I mean, I don't get it. I think you're going to say Cam.
No, he reminds me of freaking Russell Westbrook. Dude does not know. He doesn't know how to turn it off. Sometimes you have to just be in the feel of a game, and there's no point, like you said, to lower your shoulder every freaking play. Like, pick your spots with that stuff, dude, because I promise you this. We're talking about Bryce Young, about his size and how he probably won't be able to stay in the NFL. He doesn't take hits. Josh Allen takes 10 hits a game, like a running back. That's what's not going to hold up.
Yeah.
It's avoiding the hits.
Yeah.
Is what keeps you in the game. Yeah. Like Pat Mahomes. Yeah. Pat Mahomes rarely gets hits. And you know when he does get hit is when he's trying to score. Like, he'll take a hit, dive in the end zone. Usually. Yeah, exactly. That's when you do. That's when you pick your spots. Josh Allen does not have a sense of that yet. Like you're saying, like he throws a bunch of picks in the end zone, tries to force everything. Like, he does not let the game come to him. And as a quarterback, it's not just about the intangibles like size, arm strength. It's about the pre-snap
no doubt.
Mindset, too. Like, Tua is great at that, too.
Yeah.
He's more of a he's more of a pre-snap guy. And then you get a guy like Mahomes who's big, arm strength, and is a pre-snap, and is a genius at reading defenses.
So that's little untrue.
When you get
the thing about Patrick Mahomes.
He said he didn't know how to learn defenses until like his second year in. So now he's peaking.
I wouldn't say he's now a genius. I don't know.
Okay,
that.
Maybe not a genius.
He had 50 touchdowns and 10 interceptions his first year starting. Without reading the defense. So he just might be an anomaly. He's not really.
That means you're a genius. That means you're a genius at reading.
He doesn't read.
You have to be a genius to be.
You know who reads? His first name's Andy.
Andy Reid.
Yeah, that's who reads.
Well, they were saying about Bryce Young before while he was getting drafted, that he was reading defenses like a 15-year-old or 15-year veteran.
Yeah, I did hear that.
And that he was solving. Yeah, that was. I still saw things that like he had a couple drives that looked great.
Good, and
He had a couple drives that looked promising, like where
it
looked good.
Yeah.
And Atlanta has a pretty good defense. Like, they're a top 15 defense. That's a tough defense to play at home.
The thing that I liked is that
first game of the season,
the Panthers' offensive line was able to spread out, which they're 100% going to have to do with him being 5'9".
Yeah.
Like, they're going to have to spread out. And if they're like all, like if the pocket's small, he's not going to be able to see nothing. Yeah. Which is kind of what happened on that one pick. Is that I don't think he could see. Yeah. I don't think he ever saw the defender there.
And that was crossing with the other receiver. You talking about the one where he threw it in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever saw a defender there.
Yeah, going back to Josh Allen, we kind of went off there. I think that's
what we do.
Yeah, there's some question marks there. He's not like right now. He is not a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. After yesterday,
Bryce Young.
No, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is
not a top 5. He's like bottom.
Not my top 5.
He is?
He's not. He's not my top 6. Actually.
He's going to be pushed to Dak status in a little bit. I'm telling you, bro.
Okay, so at the end, for dessert, stick around, QB tiers. We'll get into that. Go to moving on. How good are the 49ers actually? And I want to actually say this. How good is Brock Purdy?
They're the most complete team in the NFL. Them and the Eagles, I keep going back and forth on.
Purdy's impressive, bro.
Their defense is insane. Their pass rush is insane. Brock Purdy he's the opposite of Josh Allen. He just takes what the defense gives him. He's not anything special. He just makes the throws that he needs to make. He always makes the right play.
Yeah.
And if you do that in an elite offense and an elite team, then you're going to be successful. If you just take what the defense gives you and you got Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, then you're going to be elite.
Which is why Mac Jones
that's why he's the perfect guy for that. What if you put Josh Allen on the 49ers?
Well, I was saying...
And then he just keeps making stupid plays and mistakes that don't need to be there.
Well, the thing about that is he might not do that with the 49ers because he has the people to do that with.
But he does.
He has Diggs now. He has to run every single time. They have no rush game. And besides Diggs, Cole Beasley,
So do you think? Okay, this is my question.
I think at one point
do
he
you
had
think
to
the
be
Bills
Superman.
created this monster?
Yes, I think I think he started on a leash, and at one point he had to be Superman. And then ever since he was, they were like, oh, they fell into the narrative that everybody else did, and they were like, oh, this is the number 2 QB. He's right there with Patrick Mahomes. He's the next best thing. He's the next great. We're watching the next Peyton Manning, Tom Brady back and forth with Patrick Mahomes. And it might have been too soon because a year later they're like, wait, actually it wasn't Josh Allen. It was Joe Burrow the whole time.
And now that's gone.
No.
There is no equal to Pat Mahomes.
No, there's no equal, but we're
there's
talking about rivalry.
There is no rival right now with Pat Mahomes.
It's
Joe Burrow hasn't earned that.
He's a winning record against him. In the
if he
playoffs.
won the Super Bowl, then yeah.
He's a winning record against him.
Yeah, but Pat Mahomes.
That's a big deal.
Pat Mahomes has 2 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs, 50 touchdown seasons.
He's also
Joe
played,
Burrow
he's
is
also
not.
played.
Joe
He's
Burrow,
also played more seasons. He's also played 3
Joe
more
Burrow
seasons.
has not reached that yet to be a rival. He is not a rival yet. The Bengals and the Chiefs are a rival. Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes are not rivals. You can't do that. He's got to get an MVP. He's got to get a Super Bowl. He's got to do a lot of stuff before they're rivals. Like Peyton Manning had the accolades to be Tom Brady's rival.
The person that's gonna be his rival anyway is on my shirt.
Is Tua? Maybe.
Tua.
I mean, they're probably the favorite in the AFC East now for sure.
They are the favorite.
Yeah.
The Bills are 2. The Patriots jumped the Jets for 3.
If Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have gotten hurt, the way that the Jets defense looked against the Bills, I'd have
unreal.
Jets easy second.
That's
right
in the
now.
main course.
With Garrett, dude.
We'll get into that in a second.
Garrett Wilson.
We'll go ahead and go to our first main course. Because the 49ers, I mean, they speak for themselves. The 49ers are ridiculous. Brock Purdy's really, really, I mean, dude, I've heard this said a couple times today. But when you're looking at the 3 best teams in the NFC, you have the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, and the San Francisco 49ers. When you have those 3 guys and you think, I need one of these 3 QBs to step up and win this game, I might be taking Dak last. I might take, and that's insane to say because
that's pretty unfair.
Purdy hasn't even won a playoff. Well, did he? Maybe. Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's just and he had 300 yards and 3 tutties.
He won 2, right? He lost in the NFC title to the Eagles without playing. Or did he?
No, he won. I think he won 2, but
that's what I'm saying.
Or I'm not sure, but the game he did play, his first game, he had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
They might have the same amount of wins.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I think they do.
But remember, Brock Purdy because I chose Brock Purdy. I don't know. We did like some type of QB draft then, and I drafted Brock Purdy, and he had 3 touchdowns.
I was a Brock Purdy hater last year.
Yeah, I know. I kept trying to convince you, dude. And then he had 300 yards and 3 tutties in his first playoff game. The thing with Brock Purdy is he just makes the right play.
I'm doing that then.
He makes the right play.
I'm taking Jalen Hurts 1, Brock Purdy 2, and Dak Prescott 3.
Well, he understands the team around him, and he just makes the right play. And Dak, along with Josh Allen, they try to force stuff. Like, how are you Dak Prescott, and you played 12 out of the 17 games last year, and you lead the NFL in picks? Or you're tied for the lead in picks.
Yeah, with the freaking Texans QB. David Mills.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. Like,
I'll tell you
which
how.
Maybe it's going to be different
because his mobility was so
maybe it's
going
to be different with the play calling change. Like Mike McCarthy calling plays. Who knows?
Reminded me of a
there could have been a huge disconnect there.
That's reminded me of a point I have in the main course. There could be. I also think that so much of it was his mobility. And when he was young and he was coming out of the 3rd round from Texas A&M, he still had that mobility, and it was such a pivotal part of his game. Also, we had a running back that could take over games. Zeke. And I like Pollard, but they don't have that. His first 2 years were also Dak's best years.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They weren't Dak's best years.
Year 2 was his best year,
2019 was his best year.
His second year starting was his best year, I'm pretty sure.
No, it's 2019. We're going to have to fact check. Because 2019 he had 37 touchdowns and 10 picks.
Dak was still good then, if it was that year. Which Dak wouldn't. His first year was 2015.
Maybe as a dual threat, but 2019 was when he got really good at passing.
Regardless, he gets hurt and loses that mobility, and in my opinion, he's never been the same. Because he's not a pocket passer, and he's not good at being a pocket passer. Until he is, because what did he really have to do in this game? What he really think about it like this: the Dallas Cowboys defense had 2 touchdowns in that game. There were 10 teams on Sunday that didn't score a touchdown on offense.
That's what I'm saying. And they had 2 picks against Purdy, or against not Purdy specifically, but the 49ers back in last year's playoff game. If Dak can just protect the football, then they have a great chance to win and go to the Super Bowl. That's all he's got to do. He doesn't have to be anything special. He has to realize what Brock Purdy realized, and I feel like he should because Dak comes from humble beginnings, and he wasn't drafted super high like Purdy was and everything. Not like Purdy wasn't Purdy like a 6th-round pick, and Dak was late first
Purdy was
round,
the
early
last
second.
pick of the draft.
Yeah, but I'm saying Dak should realize that like if he has a good team around him, because he's never had to be Superman, that if he just protects the football, he'll always give his defense a chance to win. Because if you give that defense just good field positioning, odds are that team's not going to score on you. So it's really just a field positioning game.
Yeah.
It's old school football.
Like Jalen Milroe.
It's old school football. Take what the defense gives you and give your defense good field positioning because
Tell
they're the best
Jalen
defense
Milroe.
in the NFL.
Tell
But
that
if
to
you
Jalen.
turn the ball over in playoff games against the Eagles and 49ers, you're not going to win those games. So Dak doesn't have to be anything special like throwing for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. All he has to do is protect the football and take what the defense gives him, like Brock Purdy, and they can compete with anybody in the NFL.
Yep. All right, moving over. Aaron Rodgers torn his Achilles. Prayers up from Good Point, bro, for that one. Even if you hate Aaron Rodgers,
That sucked.
as a fan of football, it hurts. I mean, I don't know if I even want them to succeed, but just that storyline alone, like, and then when you hear that he turns to Garrett Wilson and says, "Sorry, kid,"
And
while
then
he's
you
laying on
watch
the turf.
Hard Knocks, and like you just get attached to
Because
that team.
he
and
was
then
doing
when they were
everything
when they were
right,
breaking
though.
down film in Hard Knocks, and they were breaking down one
Yeah,
of
the
Aaron
defense.
Rodgers' throws,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Listen, that's our guy this year. Like that's our guy.
Yeah.
We're not going against him. He's ours.
Yeah.
Like this is what we're working with. You know how much confidence that gives a team. And then the first drive, 4 plays in, tears his ACL, probably might retire.
Well, his Achilles.
Tears his Achilles. That is a freaking devastator right there.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, so like I said, any football fan, it's rough. Hear me out on this, though. So I've been thinking all day, who can they bring in? Now, a lot of people are saying, that they got their guy or whatever. Zach Wilson's going to be their guy. But I've been thinking all day, who can the Jets bring in? And hear me out on this one. And tell me what you think. Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush.
Trade for Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
How do you like
see
that?
I
Because-
mean, he went 4-1
Because
with
the Cowboys. Yeah, he went
last year.
4-1. And the Cowboys just got Trey Lance. So maybe, eventually Trey Lance is going to be their backup or compete even for the starting job, depending on how Dak does. But obviously, they have a guy there. Cooper Rush.
Maybe he can be their Nick Foles. A little bit Nick Foles magic.
Like the
Insert
Carson
him
Wentz,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But for an entire season.
Yeah. That's the thing. It seems like when you have backup,
Yeah.
that was a really weird laugh.
Sorry.
But it seems like if you have a backup, they have like 5 games in them, where they're just magical and nobody knows how to play them.
Fitzmagic.
And then it just falls off a cliff and then they suck again. So it's like you got to time it right.
Yeah.
So you have Zach Wilson sneak you in the playoffs as a wild card. And then, because obviously they're not going to win the division. That's going to be the Dolphins or the Bills, but probably the Dolphins. They look really good, and they get Jalen Ramsey coming back. But if you're the Jets, you just time it up to where you got Zach Wilson playing, and then like game 15,
I don't know if you do
get
that.
Cooper Rush, and then
If Zach Wilson gets you to the playoffs, they're just going to play him.
no, you or
Can
at
Zach
least
Wilson-
you need to get somebody that could go in if he's sucking.
What about this?
In
What
the
is
playoffs.
what is Zach Wilson's ceiling? What is Zach Wilson's ceiling?
Barely making the playoffs. I feel like
I don't think they're making the playoffs.
you don't.
No.
I'm saying borderline playoff team. That's not good. That's not good enough though. Aaron Rodgers is making them a freaking contender. So how do you
Aaron Rodgers is
compensate
making them
for
like
that?
a Super Bowl top 3 pick.
And just the talk of the NFL, like it was just great.
Yeah.
Like you got a guy who's the oldest guy in
the
the league,
superstar caliber of Tom
just
Brady.
won 2 MVPs,
Doing
Yeah.
what?
going to New
Or
York,
Aaron Rodgers.
going
Doing
to
what-
New York, trying to salvage a franchise
Yeah.
that has just sucked
Yeah.
for so long,
Yeah.
and then they finally get him.
A QB away.
And 4 plays in, tears his ACL. You can't
It's
ride
his
a
Achilles.
Yeah,
Which
I don't
I
know why. You can't make up a better story.
I
than
heard
that.
someone call it ACL today on ESPN too.
It's,
I guess it
get
just
that.
happened
I get,
so
well, it's
much.
Achilles, AC.
Yeah,
I just
it
get
probably
it mixed
just
up.
an ACL injury.
But Achilles is worse. Like if it was an ACL, could he have came back for maybe the playoffs?
Maybe the playoffs because it was so early in the year. But the Achilles, you're out for
He said,
12,
"Sorry, kid."
12 months.
That sounds like a freaking movie.
Sounds like Doc Hudson.
Yeah, something like that. Like a
Yeah, he said,
It's
"Sorry,
wild.
kid." That's super rough. But
because
I think Aaron Rodgers is that kind of guy to where he could come back next season and give them 2 years, the last 2 years of his contract, and
I think he'll
see
play
what
out his
happens.
contract and retire. That's what I
But
think.
the Achilles injury is such a freak thing too, though. Like, I'm sure he's having surgery in the next couple of days. I'm sure they're putting him on whatever drugs it takes to make it heal as fast as possible, and then he's in rehab. So
Is there any
if
way
I had
that
to
he
guess,
comes back?
I-
Anyway?
this year,
Yeah.
0. If I had to guess, he is back to working out in 9 months.
He's probably. I mean, that if you're an athlete, that has to make you go insane when you just are immobile.
When you did, oh, that's what I was about to say. Is Aaron Rodgers did everything right.
Yeah.
Like the previous years, they were saying he's not coming to voluntary training camp. He's not getting to know his receivers. He doesn't like being on the Packers. He gets to the Jets. He goes to everything he possibly can. Him and Garrett Wilson are basically friends doing cool handshakes on the sideline. And then this happens, plus Hard Knocks, plus the coaching staff loves him. And it seemed like he was really like enjoying New York. Listen, I'm a Bear. I grew up a Bears fan. I've despised Aaron Rodgers every time he stepped on a football field since I was 10 years old. And I still, for some reason, just wanted the Jets to win a few games just because he was there and just because of everything surrounding it. I wanted New York to win something since 1969 against like the stupidest team that's ever existed or whatever they won their Super Bowl against. And
the Giants.
Oh, bro, I saw a meme. And it said, basically it was like, this meme of this guy, and he was like, "This is the most devastating thing I've ever seen," and it was the score for the Giants game,
later.
and it said, then it showed the field, MetLife, or not MetLife, is it MetLife?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, and it shows the field MetLife, and he goes, "I got one more,"
Yeah.
and then it
That
was
was-
Aaron Rodgers.
I watched like the first 30 minutes of the game, and it was like, this is insane.
I rewatched because I was on a run. I don't know, I was running outside, and
It
then
was-
so I rewatched just like the point of his injury, bro. Everyone's just like this.
in the Jet Stadium.
Yeah, they're just.
They were
dead inside, bro.
hyped too at the beginning of the game.
I'm glad they pulled out that win. But dang, bro, their line just does not look good. Luckily, I mean, Zach Wilson made one like scramble throw to his left for a first down. It was just a little check down throw, but it was pretty athletic. He was almost sideways with it, so it was pretty nice. And then, to be honest, though, that touchdown to Garrett Wilson was all Garrett Wilson. He threw it to the other guy's chest, the defender's chest. Garrett Wilson comes and snags it, tips it to himself, touchdown. That was a great play. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a heartbreaker. It's a heartbreaker in the very least that they don't have that and that story is not going to be told for this season. Hopefully they can win a couple games. I don't think they make the playoffs. I think, if anything,
maybe this will give
either
them time
only
to get
two
better
teams from their
personnel.
division. Yeah, true. Either only two teams from their division makes the playoffs, or the New England Patriots find a way to make it, because they looked really good to me against the Eagles. They didn't, get that one quite out. I don't think Mac Jones should have to throw 54 passes for you to be able to win. So hopefully they get their running game going and he can kind of scale back a little bit, but still look as impressive as he did week 1. Obviously, the Patriots believe in him after cutting both their backups, and rightfully so. I think he's that guy. I think last year he had a defensive coordinator as an OC, and it really showed.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they didn't have such a terrible start against the Eagles, they probably win that game. Or at least there's a great chance they win that game. Because they went down like 16-0.
They were down 16-0.
So.
Yep. All right. On to dessert. For the dessert, we have our top 10 QB tier list. Here it goes.
This is yours.
Yeah,
make a disclaimer here.
Yeah. All right. QB pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid, the first 4 spots, we have Josh Allen. I know this is low for Josh Allen, but his play has been just as low. He deserves to be at this tier, to be honest with you. We got Josh Allen. We got Jared Goff. Jared Goff is rising up. I like him as a top 10 QB. Beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Arrowhead. It's a great win. Don't let people discredit it. They want to discredit it. Don't let them.
I do.
Lamar Jackson. I got Lamar Jackson. When he's healthy, he's good, man. Obviously off to a slow start, but he hasn't played in 6-7 months. Hasn't played in a long time.
I don't care about that. He missed the last 5 games.
He hasn't played in a long time, and he's got a lot of new personnel. So I like him in that
Good
spot.
personnel.
Lastly, and this is a bit of a surprise after week 1, but I got Matthew Stafford. Looked good. I know he's older, but he's still a gunslinger.
You can't put Matthew Stafford over Josh Allen right now, bro.
He's not over Josh Allen.
Oh, it's just
it's a tier.
no order.
He's technically he's technically 10th, I guess.
Oh, okay, got you.
I
thought you were naming
this
them
was
back
7,
10 to
8,
6.
or wait, this was 7, 8, 9, and
I
10.
thought you were naming them from 10 to 7.
No.
Josh Allen was 10.
So, like, if you look at the pyramid, it'll be left to right.
I might have
Allen.
put Brock Purdy in that last year.
I thought about putting Brock Purdy
over Matthew
Brock
Stafford.
Purdy is right there with some binoculars
He's hot
looking
right
in.
now.
Yep.
I'm just saying he's even from last year.
Yep. Brock Purdy
He's
for
hot.
sure is standing right outside the pyramid knocking on the door. Next tier we got okay. Third tier? Is it third tier? Or should it go second tier, third, fourth tier?
Second, first tier.
First tier is number 1 though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's third tier. All right. In that third tier, first up, we got Herbert. All right. I know that Herbert might look like a top 3 QB at times. He's got to learn to throw the deep ball. He's not quite there for me. On the fringe, though. On the fringe. He's still a top 5 QB. Next, right behind him is Trevor Lawrence, the Prince. Trevor Lawrence, to me, great win for the Jaguars. He looked impressive. Probably a top 3 performance of the week for any NFL QB. And last in that spot is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is, to me, the second best QB. But like I said, this is based on week 1. And I can't put him as a top 3 performance of the week. Only had 80 yards. Absolutely got demolished by the Browns. So I got him right there at the end of tier 3. Tier 2, we got the Bama boys. Tua, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was up 16-0. Minimal mistakes. I know his stats weren't great, but they ended up with a win. And I think that's actually going to, looking back, be one of the best wins of the year for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Tua, obviously. No need. Almost 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. Don't really have to go in too much on that one. He looked impressive. And at number 1, as you guys all know, Zach Wilson. No, I'm just kidding. It's Patrick Mahomes, and it's going to be Patrick Mahomes for the next however many years, and it's been Patrick Mahomes for the last however many years. So that's the pyramid. That's it. Yep.
What's the criteria for this? Because we're putting 2 at second.
It's a combination of.
That's wild.
It's a combination of where they were and week 1 performance.
I can't put 2 at 2.
It's kind of like an AP poll.
Way too much.
It's like an AP poll. It's like an AP poll.
That's just way too
like
much.
If Bama lost, but they don't drop out of the top 10.
They probably. Wait, what are they right now?
10.
10?
Yeah.
I haven't seen them.
And
10.
Texas wins, and they jump right up to 4.
They went to 4. I haven't seen them at 10 since I was
probably
2015. I think they dropped down to 13 or something.
No, they were that last year.
Do y'all remember? I just want to say this one more thing for Georgia fans. Do you remember that year in 2015? They were like 13, or they were number 8 when they played Georgia. I don't know. They were still lower, and Georgia was favored against Alabama, which is like 1 in 5 times a team has been favored against Alabama in the Nick Saban era or whatever. Bama beat them 38-0 at Georgia in 2015. I'm telling you, don't count Bama out yet. I'm going to keep talking about it.
That's all for episode 70. That's 70 of the Good Point Bro podcast. As you guys know, my name's Kane. That's my little bro Cam.
Don't sleep.
Don't sleep, baby. We'll see you in 71 next week. New episodes every Thursday, so be on the lookout. We're following the NFL. Follow it with us. We'll see you in the next one, all right?
Peace.
Later.